I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you folks at home. We're going to start off the meeting tonight with a public hearing. Ask a motion to open the public hearing on property maintenance violations. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you. Justin, would you conduct the first part of the public hearing?
Certainly. Are the property owners present? Does anyone own 1048 Route 9W?
Yes, that's me.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Good evening.
And were you served notices of violation with respect to orders to remedy for property maintenance? Going back to 2022?
Yes, but we received it this year.
This year you received
We
it?
have received it prior to that date. And we didn't remedy it.
Just, my apologies. Just,
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Just each of you give your name to the record.
Okay, I'm Georgia Dempsey, and I'm Alexandria.
Thank you. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
and you
not a
can
problem.
Certainly speak as well, and the board wants to hear from you, right?
Sure. Would you like me to get up, or I'm fine here sitting?
Do you want it on the microphone?
Yes,
for the public?
it's for the public at home. The microphone doesn't do anything for us here, but it brings our broadcast to the
So you can
to
both
the home.
stand by the microphone and
Okay.
speak into the microphone. Anyone listening at home can hear. Okay, so you were at least served again in January of 2026, is that correct? And more than 30 days have passed? Okay, and my understanding is there's been some discussions on plans to remedy the situation, is that accurate?
Absolutely, yes.
And about how long do you think you need to complete?
Well, we don't know exactly what is required of us and what the town would like us to do.
Okay.
And as far as obtaining permits or not obtaining permits, we're not really sure.
Sure.
So that's why, I mean, over the winter, we got the notices in January, and I mean, we had a really rough winter. I mean, it was so cold, I mean, we couldn't do anything about it at that time, but now we can.
Sure.
So, and, yeah, so whatever you tell us to do, we'll do it.
And I was away, so I couldn't address
Yeah.
it, and I just got back.
No, I understand, right? So, and the building department has, I believe you've been in discussions with Mr.
Yes, we
Yanawal?
spoke.
If Phil's here now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't even see you there.
you.
I'm glad you're here.
You're right.
We spoke to him last week.
Okay. And further, one clarification, and then I'll let Phil jump in as well, but some remedies have begun, is that my understanding?
Yeah, we painted.
There's beginning of the cleanup of the property. Phil, are you, doesn't have to be this moment right now, but by tomorrow morning, are you able to articulate a checklist of what needs to be done for them to bring the property into compliance with your order to remedy?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and you've had verbal conversations where you've been describing most of the work that's necessary?
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of it, but they were mentioning resurfacing the vinyl canopy and painting the bottom. I believe you already started on the bottom.
Yeah, we wanted to do either resurfacing the vinyl or just removing the whole structure of the awning.
So we called the signage place, and they told us that we needed to contact the town, depending on the town, whether we would need a permit or not, because they weren't really sure.
Well, I think when you're really sure on what you want to do, Phil can tell you what type of permit to get from him. They come from him.
Every town
Yeah.
requires it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't know.
Okay, so it's it's my understanding, right? There's nothing structural here, right? That most of it is cosmetic or cosmetic plus to, right, sort of have a better appearance for the community because it's been in this condition for a period of time. Right? Agree, disagree?
Well, in 2022, we did paint when we did get a notice.
The notice.
Okay.
And I had checks and pictures
Okay.
at the time,
And you
those
remedied it.
years that it was addressed. And I had spoken to, I believe, Gabby, and she told me that if there's a problem, you'll receive a notice. And I received a notice of remedy, but I can't seem to find it. I'm still looking through my paperwork.
Well, we can supply all the
Yeah.
That's fine. So I think the concern of the board and the building department is that it not continue in this state. Seems as if you're already attempting to address it, right? To me, it sounds like, you know, today's weather notwithstanding, 30 days of decent weather, right, with a roadmap from the building department tomorrow, right, you can accomplish this.
30 days, like, could we have a little bit more
All
days?
30, or just, but we only need the signage?
Signage in the loose electrical.
Loose electricals, okay, okay.
Right. And you've already started painting,
Yeah, we
or
will.
maybe completed it, I didn't
Yeah,
drive
the
by
painting we
today.
did on the outside.
So, right, because, and I appreciate that, without back and forth on 2022 to 2026 and exactly what happened, right? There's been a significant period of time, so the town wants to ensure that the work be done in a timely manner. Usually, the recommendation is 30 days, the reason being, right, if work doesn't get completed, the town has the ability to do the work itself, charge that back to you with the surcharge, and it becomes a lien on your property. I don't think the town wants to do that because you're already showing that you're attempting to remedy the issues and want a little more information. So it's up to the board, right? Normally, I don't recommend, and normally most town boards don't want to give more than 30 days. If you show significant progress and you're doing the work, but it takes some time for, right, this piece to be ordered, right? But, right, as long as there's a dialogue, the town board could always extend that if they chose to, without jumping in and do the work. The danger from the town board perspective, I don't know you all at all, right? I just know this from plenty of communities. Yes, 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 we're gonna do it, right? 4 weeks go by, no work's occurred, there's been no meeting with the building department, and then you say, well, we need a little, you all, people may say we need more time. That's why they tend to give a hard deadline, right? Because then we can control the process, right? Not with the intention of constantly bringing you back to these meetings, right? And most of it could be done directly through the building inspector. I can liaison as well on behalf of the town board. Does this sound like a reasonable plan?
Yes, positively.
Phil, do you think, based on what you know of the property and what needs to be done, 30 days is a reasonable time frame?
Yes, now that the weather has gotten a little bit better, besides today.
And I don't want to speak for your schedule, right? So I don't know what your Tuesday looks like. Yep, a checklist of what you're expecting to remedy the violations that you issued.
I can produce that tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, right? We can count 30 days from when you reasonably think you can do it.
Yes.
So could we have two options when I outsource it, so I can get a quote? One to remove the actual frame, and one to do an actual vinyl.
Do you understand what she's saying?
So it has a frame with a vinyl, and I was gonna outsource and get a price quote to remove the actual frame that's on the store, or just do a vinyl. Because the signage company said it might pay just to remove the actual frame.
Understood, but that would be exposing all the glass there on the
Yeah,
building?
but it was
Yeah.
Carvel before, the glass was there from the structure of the building.
So you're recommending just to change the signage on it? I mean, that's fine, we'll do
There-
that, but does that
There might be
require?
more issues
Right.
with that, is, I'd
It
like the
doesn't look
opportunity
as
to
pleasant,
look at it.
probably, if you take it out. So now,
So-
question, do I need a permit to just the signage?
Any kind of
What
permit they
signage is
need.
being changed?
No signage, just the awning,
Just the awning.
Just the awning?
to refurbish the awning, or you're saying now replace?
Yeah, that was an option the signage company told me, just remove the whole frame, and they'll remove it for us. Because it's only bolts.
That's just the company that's gonna do the work.
I understand. So, Bill's the expert on the code. I would say, no, you don't need a permit for that level of work. You're here being responsive to the violations that have been issued.
If you have
But
any
Bill, you
signage,
gotta tell them tomorrow whether you expect that they need a permit for that level of work.
Sure.
if you have a signage company that you recommend locally, I don't mind going with them as well.
Even though we can't do that though.
Okay,
I appreciate the thought,
Understood, understood.
but we can't make the recommendation.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know that everything was spelled out perfectly clearly, but so town board, do you have questions of the property owners?
Anybody have questions? No?
I don't.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming, because a lot of times people don't. I mean, here's kind of what it looked like a year ago on there. You can see the ripped vinyl and whatnot. Let's be practical. In regard to getting a sign, you don't know what you're putting there right now. It's not going to be the Bako Cafe, so I don't know why you'd have a sign made up. And no matter what you do, that building was not the best building in the world in 1970, and it's not the best building in the world now. I did see somebody out there on Saturday painting the candy cane stripes on the bottom gray. So an effort is being put forth, you know. And what it looks like once you rip all that stuff down, that's a work in progress. I don't know what to say about that. And Philip will guide you on it. So, I'm comfortable with the 30 days and, you know,
If, right?
You guys have any questions?
No.
No? Okay.
And if you get into the process, and because there's a pivot, it's prefer to replace or not, right? And, right, as long as consistent work is occurring, and you're keeping the building inspector informed, right, then this board can entertain a reasonable request for an extension if they've seen work. If they haven't seen real effort and work, then they are entitled, after 30 days, to hire their own people to do the work, right? Charge you with a 15% surcharge, and it becomes a lien on the tax on the property, right? They also have the ability, if they don't want to go in that direction, to send it to justice court, right, where the judge could issue fines on a daily basis. I don't think that's their intention, I'm just alerting you as to
No,
what
that's
the
fine.
possibilities are, right? But really, again, thank you for appearing, many people do not, right? And that's what the town wants to see, that it gets cleaned up, you know, in a reasonable manner, in a reasonable timeframe.
Okay, can I ask the board for a motion then to approve 30 days to make the
Motion.
repairs?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Mrs. Yahtzee, thank you very much for coming.
Yes, thanks so much for
We appreciate it.
coming.
If we can
Appreciate
settle
it.
this matter in 30 days, it would be very good. That'd be very nice.
Thank you, thank you.
So Phil, you'll coordinate directly.
Contact you tomorrow with a letter of transmittal.
Okay.
What was that?
He'll get you the checklist of sort of what he expects
Okay,
to remedy the property.
thank you.
Thank you. for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. All right. Public comment on agenda items, please, agenda items. Anybody have anything on the agenda? Okay. Then I have the previous minutes. Our last meeting was on March the 2nd. Do I have any comments on from the board on the minutes? And I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. Sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Communications, I have this letter that I've passed around. I think you've all read it. It's a draft letter on ambulance services in the county. It's proposed, this letter is a proposal from a supervisor in Orange County that the county takes steps towards a more active role in ambulance services in our shared community. In other words, he's asking for the county to look into providing ambulance services for the county. I'm going to ask the board if they would let me reply to this letter saying, put our name on it, and that's basically going to obligate us to nothing, other than we're asking the county to look into providing ambulance service, because as you know, it's very difficult getting volunteers, EMTs, paid EMTs. It's very difficult, and we're not alone. So it's a good idea from the supervisor. So I ask for a motion to allow me to reply to this letter that we'll be interested in, have our name put in the letter.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, Justin looked it over too, and he said, yes, you're looking...
Michael did.
What?
Michael seconded.
I didn't hear who seconded it.
Michael did. You have to speak up.
And all in favor, right?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, I transferred. Here we go into this numbers nonsense. I transferred $552,608 from the consolidated account to the paying account. The bigger items, Fort Montgomery Fire District got $462,500 for the 2026 budget. Rockland County Solid Waste for haulage in January, $26,877. Diesel fuel for February, $12,801. Legal services, $10,204. No how-to supply for recreation and sanitation. In February, that was $8,719. I also transferred $7,124 to the paying account to cover Northern Supply ceramic blade for snow removal, $3,683. Rubber plow edge for the plow, $1,898. Court books, $1,541. I also transferred $115,182 from the consolidated account to the paying account for MVP Healthcare, health insurance, $43,313. Municipal workers' compensation for workers' comp, $6,207. Orange and Rockland for electricity service for the town, $8,521. Apache salt for road salt, $6,207. And Corsi tires for backhoe supplies, $2,800. Any questions from the board? Any questions? No questions? Then we'll go right into board liaison, and beginning with Councilman Sullivan,
Uh-oh.
if you're ready.
No, but I'm never ready, but everybody can chill out because it's not going to be that long. So first I want to thank Philip for coming here. I may as well go to his Building Department report first. Spent a lot of time talking with Phil today. Most anywhere you see, if you see something you think required a violation, it probably got one or two or three. So he's on the job doing his thing. His new helper, James Bertones, is out doing fire inspection. We're going to read off the quantity in just a minute. It's working out rather handsomely, and I'm glad that 1048 9W is just here. And we've had discussions about Mine Dock Park as well. There was a Facebook discussion about it where I let everybody know that the Palisades Interstate Park Commission pays taxes to us on everything they have, including Mine Dock Park. We get about $40,000 a year between school, town, and county from Mine Dock Park. And Bob helped to get that to go from Scenic Hudson to the Palisades Interstate Park Commission. It's a huge success. The sewer plants have money put into it. It smells pretty nice. You can't take a motorboat out there, and because the town doesn't own it, we can't regulate that it's town residents only. So if you wanted motorboats going out there, it wouldn't be us. It would be people from somewhere else. So I think it's a beautiful little success down there. Back to building department. There were 17 permit applications were received, 13 permits were issued, 2 operating permits were issued, 5 certificates of compliance. 1 certificate of occupancy was issued, 29 building permit inspections, 21 fire safety inspections, 21. 12 violation notices, 3 violation notices were closed out. There were 5 municipal searches, 3 planning board applications were received, and 8 FOIL requests. And I'd like to thank Phil too for his pragmatism with 1048 on Route 9W. We had a couple of blizzards. There was no point in having them do this in February, so it came here to where we're here tonight. Hopefully the weather holds up, and let's see what happens there over the next 30 days. On the sewer. So last August, August 31st, just before Labor Day. You all remember it made national news. There was a guy that walloped one of our pump stations on 9W, just about blew the whole thing up, quite frankly, and a cadet saved the guy from a burning car. That took a lot of effort to get that thing rebuilt. It took us 2 weeks, basically, to get O&R to come back on board. It had insurance claims that we submitted for about $32,000, and I have a lot of help. I have help from June, and I have help from Kelly, and June reported to me today that we got back, I think, $28,000 and change for that incident down there, and that was an incident. So I want to thank everybody for helping me to almost look good. And for the sewer for the month of February, we averaged 82,000 gallons per day, which is 66% capacity. I got to keep this professional. He also puts on the precipitation for the month. There was no precipitation in the form of liquid. He put an invective that I can't read about how much snow we got. So that was his report on for the sewer down there. And for the water, we averaged 85,000 gallons per day. Last week we had 2 days we were below 57,000 gallons. I looked a couple of days ago, and there was one day where we were over 115,000 gallons. What does that mean? Somebody between 3 o'clock in the morning and 6 in the morning is cranking open a hydrant somewhere because there's no specific accounts that are leaking that much water. So I don't know what's going on. This has happened a couple times, but there's no gigantic leak or anything. Somebody somewhere is taking water out of a hydrant, which would go through the master meter, but wouldn't be metered specifically. So whatever's going on with that, and we will be flushing hydrants. Kelly sent out a text alert. April 20th, I think we're starting with that, right? So April 20th, I know that's advance notice. We'll send out another notice in the not too distant future. Up at Eagle Crest, through this long and wonderful winter that we've had, we had trouble with our generator up there. Let me explain a little bit about up there. The generator, that's a booster station. The only place that needs to have boosted pressure is up on Corbin Hill, Eagle Crest, and Deer Run. So it's because it's at an elevation of about 360, the village tank's at about 460. By the time it gets down there, you have a reduced pressure. So the generator is basically to keep the pumps running when the electric goes out, but we don't really need it. You can still get water to those people, but the building isn't heated without it. So we had a lot of trouble with the propane not being delivered and a few other things. They're working on it. That thing is 25 years old. Plan on sometime over the next 5 years, that's going to have to be replaced. So they're salvaging what they can, and I hope to have it operational by the end of this week is what I was told. So I mentioned hydrants being flushed, and I didn't put anything down for DPW. I've spent a lot of time up there. We have Lindsay McLeod up there working now. She's doing rather handsomely, and she's pretty much assimilated herself into pretty much every task there is up there. The phone, as it always has been, is being answered, and if you call up there and call sanitation, I told her don't always answer until people get used to the lecture that I leave in the voicemail about having an ample number of cans, don't put garbage bags on top of them. That's been a huge project for the last year. We're doing pretty good. The village looks a lot better. There aren't that many places that like it was a year. We had one place last year that had 17 different bulk pickups on 17 different weeks, each week of which had 2 mattresses or more. So it was a 3-bedroom place. So we're kind of getting away from that. That's under control. And in terms of really good things going on, I didn't have time to put together. I mean, Olga's done some wonderful things that I know she's going to talk about. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, I think we had that after the last meeting. That had a pretty good turnout. The weather was good that day. I'm sure Michael's going to talk about what's going on with recreation and all that. And with the DPW, they're anxious to get going. They took the risk of taking a wing plow off of one of their plows because they needed a dump truck for some of the work they're going to do. Let's hope that wasn't a bad decision. They could put it on in about 3 hours, but they took it off hoping that we don't get that kind of snow. And that's kind of all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Councilman King.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Just a couple notes from me. First, we'll start with emergency management and disaster preparedness. So, again, caveat some of the conversation about, and I have to remind you all that we had blizzards and storms over the winter, and so during that period of time, we were actively engaged in trying to ensure that we mitigate any risk to life or property for that matter. Mother Nature has a vote, but for the most part, we would say we weathered the storm. Okay. Now, moving forward, on February 27th, I met with Kurt Hahn, who is our emergency management disaster preparedness coordinator for the town of Highlands, and we had a good, long, robust meeting looking at any lessons learned from the last weather systems, and then talk about what we need to do to be prepared as we transition from winter to spring and summer, and we know what comes with that. God forbid there's anything major, but we have to be prepared. So what he and I talked about, number one priority is revamping our comprehensive emergency management and disaster preparedness plan. Okay, we've been in the process of doing that several times. We've had a few iterations of that. If you recall, Tiffany was one of the lead folks on our team that was from the DPW or the highway department that was kind of leading that charge at one time. No longer with us. But we're going to dust off what we have, and then we're going to re-engage that process. The second thing that I have done in the last few weeks is had a meeting with the Community Flood Resilience Working Group, and had a great conversation with them about what's going on in the community, the volunteer world of being prepared and being resilient. And so they brought a lot of great recommendations and suggestions. And then the third thing is I met with, I will call my counterpart down at the village, is Trustee Gargiulo, who happens to be here tonight. So we've met and talked about continuing to work together as a united front from the village and the town, intermunicipality kind of relationship, try to make sure that we put our best foot forward. So I thank you for your teamwork there. And then finally, we're going to propose that on, if you recall, some of you may have been around when I think I first got the assignment to be emergency management. We did a big powwow, big meeting down in the senior center. I had all the parties there. I had the village police, I had the town police, I had the village fire department, the town fire department. I've had DPW Greg and those guys down there, the highway department. A lot of the board members here were there.
State police were there too?
State police was there, West Point was there. We had a big powwow. We want to try to do that again, and I say try just because we can invite folks. It's up to them to come. But the date proposed is April 24th, which is a Friday. April 24th, almost 30 days from now, we would like to re-engage this committee of sorts and then move forward with a game plan to be more prepared than we have been in the past. All right? So that's the mark on the wall. And so more to follow. Waiting to confirm location is really all it is. Date looks good for most people, but now we need a suitable location where we can get everybody in there. Looking at possibly the conference room that they have over at the West Point. Is it the museum or is it the
the visitor center, yeah.
the visitor center? One of those.
Probably the visitor center.
Probably the visitor center?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll shoot for that and see if we can get in there and knock it out. The only other thing I have is I wanted to talk about veteran stuff. You know, within the realm of town, we got three of us. I think you was a veteran too, already? Somebody told me. So we got three of us in here, but more importantly, we're looking at the fact that in our community, there's lots of folks who come from wherever they come from, whether it's across the street at West Point, whether it's like me, you went away and you came back. But we have an influx of folks who are now residing in our area, which I think is a good thing, right? But with that comes some sort of resources needed sometimes. If anybody can remember far back as probably 6-7 years ago, I hate to bring up, but may he rest in peace, we had a death in our community with a recently retired veteran who passed away at a self-inflicted gun wound. So with that being said, as we have folks who are transitioning from West Point into the community, for example, something that's no longer present is the Transition Assistance Program that I used to be the person that ran at one time when I first got out of the Army. It's non-existent as it was at that time. How do I know? Because we had some active duty folks at an event on Saturday, what we call the Resiliency Summit, that said, we don't have the ability to go in and talk to anybody about transition at this point. We can go online and look at it, but some of us need to talk to people. And so I said, wow, I think this thing that we try to do over here, whether it be with our Chamber of Commerce, whether we be with the elected officials or other volunteers, to just say, we're here, we can point you in the direction of mental health resources, we can point you in the direction of housing resources, and other things that you may need to integrate into our community. And so we had a big summit on Saturday, which was very, very well attended. And out of that came just a confirmation that we are needed. Now, if that ain't enough to get you fired up, then obviously we got current events that suggest that, we are back at it in terms of fighting our nation's wars, and so that also comes with some responsibility as far as I'm concerned with municipalities. So I just wanted to give you reassurance, supervisor and board and community, that it's not like we're sleeping on this. We are engaged fully, and we got a team of folks from on the other side of the fence, both municipalities here, working together to try to provide some sort of reintegration services to our veterans. And then with that, I close and yield the remainder of my time to the folks on the left over there.
Well, this veteran thanks you for your work. Thanks you for your work. Thanks you for your service and your post-service.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Leahy.
How's everybody doing tonight? Joe, good to see you. Ain't seen you in a while. Recreation, We got co-ed t-ball and co-ed coach pitch registration is still open until the end of this month. Ponytail softball and youth baseball have free registration this year. Registration is still open as well for that. Every week up at the middle school, there's a pitching and hitting clinic. One day during the week, one day on the weekend. This weekend is the Easter egg hunt. 10 a.m. sharp. Bring a bag or a basket for the kids to collect the eggs. The rain date will be April 4th. Aaron is still in preparation for the summer rec program with the new liaison of the health department. Lacrosse sign-ups are still open. He's trying to bring Taekwondo classes for adults and kids. Ty. And CPR class he's trying to get coming soon. So this morning I saw an email about getting the parks ready. I went up and looked at the gazebo. If people could not burn the benches, there's a huge burn hole in the bench at the top gazebo by the dog park. If you see anybody doing anything like that, call the local police department. That's about all I have today.
Thank you. And Councilman Sport.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening to everybody. First of all, ambulance calls for February. There were 47 calls dispatched. 39 were answered. 5 were covered by other companies because there was no driver or EMT available. 3 of them were a second call at the same time, and we're just not equipped to go out to 2 calls so close together. And that happens a lot more than you would think. ZBA and Consolidated Planning Board both met last week, so we spent a lot of time in this room last week in the evenings. For the Zoning Board of Appeals, contractor who is working on 266, 268 Main Street, the lot that's just a couple of doors up from here. They were scheduled for a public meeting. They had missed a deadline on their own part of the mailing, so the public hearing was opened. It will continue when they meet next on April 15th with the next Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The next item on the agenda for Zoning Board was 195 Main Street, the HSBC building, and Mr. Minicozy was here. His plans for the building are a mixed-use building, commercial and residential, with 48 apartments right now. Several aspects of the plans were reviewed to see if the project is ready for a public hearing. Points of discussion were that the property exists in 2 separate zones, but that doesn't seem to be a deal breaker for them. Available parking, is there enough space? Will the building be 4 floors or 5? According to the comprehensive plan, it suggests that buildings should not exceed 4 floors, but the new height restriction is 50 feet, so that'll go on. There'll be an ongoing discussion whether that means 4 floors or 5. The building plan presented approximately 15% of the square footage of the floor 1 is commercial, and is that enough commercial space to consider it mixed use? So that's one of the questions. So it's not ready yet. They'll return. It's not ready to be scheduled for a public hearing yet. Consolidated Planning Board met on Thursday evening. Scenic Huts in the ongoing park project behind Seatown. They had a small administrative matter. They're having a lot line change, so where most of it is behind Seatown and will be accessed by Havens Road, it also ends up over on Regina Road, right? So there will be an entrance exit there. And there was a lot line change because part of it, and this will be a theme coming up, that the land, they're giving over some of the land to the folks whose driveway is there, so it'll actually belong to the people who own the property. So that was really just an administrative piece of business. Next was Highland Falls, or HF Main Street Owner LLC, and this is for 447, 451, 450 Main Street, 5 and 9 Drew Avenue. So the big building that's going to anchor Drew and Main Street there, that starts from the current IGA, goes to Shades, and then 2 buildings up. It's a really interesting plan, and they should be presenting about it next month. They are going to do, are they doing public hearing next month? Did they decide that, Justin?
No.
No, they're still.
Not on
Oh,
that
because
project.
they all have to, all right, so this'll come up. Put a pin in that. 4 floors with 36 residential units, retail on the front of the first floor on Main Street, residential at the back of the ground floor, and then each of the remaining 3 floors will have mostly 1-bedroom apartments, like 8 1-bedroom apartments, 3 2-bedroom apartments on each floor. So that comes out to altogether 27 1-bedroom apartments, 9 2-bedroom apartments. There are several issues that need resolution, mainly because these are all old pieces of property that have been owned by people forever. Where are the right-of-ways? Where are the property lines? How are you going to get entrance from, like, between the building next door, which is also on the agenda for that night. So if you're looking at the IGA World Kitchen and one of the smoke shops that's next to that building, they're going to put an addition onto that. Well, the driveway that goes back to the senior center is owned part by Navy Federal is there, and all these property lines are all kind of melding. So there's work to do. However, it's a great time because the Mike Marana from 441 Main Street was also there to talk about a variance for to put a third floor on that building. So there's already apartments above, right? So you got World Kitchen and the smoke shop, and then there are apartments above that to add a 3rd floor. So now they need more parking spaces, and they have them. How are you going to define them? And how's all the traffic going to work behind those buildings? And maybe Drew Avenue will change the direction that it goes in to give people access, because what if when the hotel finally goes next door and go in there? So there's a lot of moving pieces on this. But all of those folks were together at that meeting, and they all have the opportunity to work out a plan among all the owners of the building back there. It's going to affect the senior center and access to that, the folks who live on Drew Avenue above the 2 buildings that are being torn down and renovated, somehow being merged into this building. So there's a lot that's going on there, but there was a lot of progress, and it all seems that the design seems wonderful. But there are several steps more that has to go for that building. Mike Marana is 441 Main Street, the addition of a 3rd floor and apartments to existing building. He's not changing the footprint, but as we talked, there's access issues and parking issues and things like that. 4th on the agenda was Fort Map LLC at 1005 US 9W, formerly Rockwell's. Proposed additional use in the existing building for cannabis wholesale processing. And it was a really interesting discussion. The processing, so it's white labeling. The processing is kind of a little misleading term. They're not really treating any of it. You're getting a big box of cannabis, and you're making it into smaller packages of cannabis to be sold at a distributor. There's
just so there's no confusion, no public sale
Right.
at that facility.
Right. And that's what we found there, like there's very distinct roles in this whole thing, and you can't be involved in more than one. You're a grower, right? Was a grower, you're a processor, you're a distributor. And none of that shall meet. So it was a lot of interesting questions and answers, and that one is going to come to, because they're talking about parking spaces. Do they have enough parking, and will they have lights, security, things like that? A lot of those issues that they talk about are administrated by the Office of Cannabis Management, by the state, but that's what's coming up next. Of course, I'm going to miss that public hearing, which I'm a little grieved about. But I think that's, did I miss anyone from zoning and planning? I think that was.
Just the extension for the Patel.
Oh, and the Patel family, yes, at the Holiday Inn, they were granted an extension for the zoning to break up the property for the, sorry, Justin, thank you.
To
Right?
build another
Yes.
hotel and to build a restaurant site. And so those approvals were extended for 6 more months.
Yes.
Nancy, that canvas, it's only short term, right? It's not isn't that like an 18-month project or?
I think that was the previous one. This is a different, so the owner, of the building was here, and it seems a little bit different in scope than what that one was. So, yeah. Finally, it being Women's History Month, on March 10th, I was invited to go to Fort Montgomery Elementary School and talk with the second grade about government and about being an elected official. And so I had to think about, like, what are you going to talk about? Like, okay, so what does it mean? What does it mean to be, what do we do? So talking to them, if you want, all right, so if we're all going to live together, we're going to be governed, what are we going to do? Well, you need a fire truck, and that was very popular. There was a lot of discussion, because it had been after one of the blizzards, about snow removal and getting loaders and all that stuff. It was really a lot of fun. Then we talked about, well, you need police, you need water to come into your house, and you need a road, and you need people to plow that road, and people to pave that road, and you need police, and they said, and we need an ambulance, and we need all this, and so it was really a lot of fun. I said, how are we going to pay for this? And there was a child who, I swear, said, taxes? And I said, that's exactly it. And that's where they said, can we read a story now? And I said, yes, we can read a story. So we moved on. We moved on from government. That's where their interest absolutely ended. And we read a story for the rest of the time. Also, continuing in the Women's History Month, March 8th, we were at the Episcopal Church Hall. The supervisor was there, and we had a salute to women veterans on behalf of the American Legion Auxiliary. And we had light attendance, but you have to start somewhere, and I think it was a nice get-together. It was, we had, Ty was there. The supervisor was there, and we had a couple other folks, and it was good. And finally, congratulations to Trustee Gargiulo for her election to the board for the year. So, and that's what I have. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was very thorough, but I got to ask kids, did they cheer when you told them you also had to have a building inspector? I'm curious about that.
There was that's when we moved on to the story. They were, because once they're done, they're done. But we had a good story. It was all a good time. And I want to go back there every week and visit with those kids.
You want to join them, sit with them, and what have you?
Yes. Well, I was mystery reader during February, and I want to go back every week to them. It's the best
Chief,
part
do
of
you have
it.
anything for us?
I have the statistics for February for the police department. We handled 680 calls for service. We initiated 103 traffic stops. We wrote 65 traffic tickets, made 2 arrests, handled 3 cases, and 7 motor vehicle accidents.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Should I stay here for the next thing?
You mean the DWI? I don't need you for that.
Usually I get yelled at to stay there.
See,
Justin,
try to
do
be
you have
proactive.
No, sir.
Okay. Kelly, do you have anything?
No.
I have something for you. Okay. We're getting into the West Point program where they start closing Mine Road quite often. We put it on Channel 23, which I only think half the town gets that anymore. Could you put it on our website? What I'll do is, when I get the notice from West Point, I'll send it to you, and then you can put it on our website. And I send it to Lisa, and she puts it on Channel 23. But there's going to be a lot more of those closing, so it's just a good time. And that saves people driving halfway out there and having to turn around. And the other thing from Kelly is just to keep everybody in the loop regarding the hotel occupancy tax. And Kelly, this is a job that she accepted. Didn't volunteer for it, but she accepted. And she does a lot of that, and my heartfelt thank you goes to you, Kelly, that you take these things. This particular project, we budgeted $75,000 worth of income for. It means a lot. It means a lot to the town residents. And so far, in her letter, she sent request letters out, which we've had them returned, and we've sent out 4 certificates of authority. There's 5 more places that we're going to get second letters because they haven't responded. And we've also identified 2 hotels that we missed. We're sending them letters. Now the big question is Airbnbs. There are a couple of companies, I think you said 4 companies, that will do research and find the Airbnbs, and we'll be sending them letters and asking them to join in on the occupancy tax.
I contacted all 4 companies, only 2 got back to me. I have demos set up this week with the 2 that got back to me. And I've spoken to another municipality that uses one of them that Mary Jane had given me, and they're happy with what they've been doing.
Excellent, good, very good, thank you. We have 2 members of the village board here. Jen, congratulations. And do you have anything to tell us? Really? And all the talking's over, you've been elected, and it's all over. No, congratulations, and thank you.
Everything was pretty much covered, everything I was going to discuss.
Alina, do you have anything for us?
Nothing for tonight.
Well, welcome. Okay, what else did I miss? Oh, tomorrow night, across the street, Visitor Center, 6 p.m. There's a program being sponsored by the AOG. Erin Helle, I don't know if I pronounced her name right, but I have trouble with pronouncing names, except for when you get to Jen, that's easy. But there's going to be a panel over there made up of me, the mayor, the garrison commander, and the chairman, I think his title is, of AOG. Will be a panel answering questions that the general public may have concerning their vision for the town, for Highland Falls, and their vision for Main Street. So if anyone's got nothing to do, or even if you have something to do, it might be a good idea if you have questions to go over and seek answers. Okay, I have a resolution. Kelly, you want to take $1 million from our available $2,900,000 and put it in an interest-bearing account in class, New York class, which has given us a great source of income. So I'll ask for a motion to authorize transfer of funds to the New York Class Asset Security System, well, the amount of $1 million.
Motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy?
Aye.
Councilmember Sparber?
Aye.
And Supervisor Lizzie?
Aye. There's a yearly agreement between the Town of Highlands and the Orange County Stop DWI Program Services. Chief, is there anything you'd like to say about this?
No, I appreciate you getting it on the agenda. I know I put it in last minute, so thank you.
Anything I don't say this sarcastically, but anything the police department needs, we'll get it on the agenda and get it taken care of as quick as we can.
This is a no cost to the town outside of the fuel for the police cars. It's capped at $1,500 to pay for salaries, and that's what I capped at. So we haven't exceeded that in my 2 years.
Okay, this resolution, the Town of Highlands authorize the execution of an agreement between the Town of Highlands and the Orange County Stop DWI Program. Do I have a motion to allow?
Motion. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy? Councilmember Swartberg?
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsy?
Aye. Okay, is there any public comment from the general, anything? Oh, of course you have something. And I don't mean that sarcastically. And I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Olga Anderson on Deer Park. I'm here to provide an update on the project that we got a grant for that kicked off last July called Highlands Together We Decide. We put the banner back out to remind people that there should be looking for a mailer coming from our organization. This is the next step in the process that we've been following. The grant funded a community listening campaign, and we spent really the bulk of the year of 2025 talking to community members. We had surveys out there. We were at a farmer's market talking to people, at the library talking to people. Anyway, we brought that to a conclusion, and we compiled the results. We had a lot of input. We have a Facebook page, Highlands Together We Decide, if you want to look into some of the details. But out of those conversations, we got 8 very concrete project ideas. The mandate for this grant was for us to engage the public in creating actionable projects for the community to actually try to implement. So we're sending out mailers with those 8 projects and asking for people to vote for their top 3. So I'm asking people to please look for the mailers in your mailbox and don't throw them out. So it's very, very important that we get as many of those ballots back so that we can honestly represent what the residents want. And this helps with the visioning exercise that's going to be happening tomorrow. It will all come together, I think, in a meaningful way. This gives our residents a real opportunity to participate in this democratic process of setting the tone for the community for the coming years. So we will do the mailers. We'll ask people to drop their responses back off. We had these boxes that we had all over the village and the town. When we did the survey, we'll have those boxes back for people to drop their ballots in there. We're also going to have 2 days at the library where people can come and vote in person if people have questions about these particular proposals or want more information. We'll be there to try to explain this. So we'll be at the library on Tuesday evening, April 7th, and Saturday midday, April 11th. So just asking people to please take that voting process seriously. We look forward to everybody's results, and we're extremely grateful for the people who did participate very actively and came up with some wonderful ideas. So.
Could you just give us an example of one of the ideas? Just one.
A recurring theme was the establishment, and this is going to come to no surprise to anybody, to have a cultural teen community center, cultural/teen/community center, which could be a focal point for recreational and support needs. We could have, it would be an easier place to have all kinds of support services come together. The Hispanic community has asked for support with different programs that they can't access easily in Spanish. So one day a month, I bring some representatives from the county or wherever to have that sort of interaction. So that's one. There was a wonderful proposal to spotlight the outdoor recreational opportunities that we have here in Highlands. There are literally people who live here here who don't know about some of the recreational opportunities that we have. And the proposal was to really create a focus on that and have, like for example, a walking tour of the historic areas of Highland Falls. To have a one-day adventure day where we actually take people out for hikes. The hope is that, if we throw a focus on those outdoor activities, it not only serves tourists, but it serves our own residents to expose them to more of these things. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is for the boards. This will be very particularly helpful for the boards. So as you know, we formed a citizens advisory committee around environmental issues. As a matter of fact, this is our 7th year. So, but that is a town-sanctioned citizen advisory committee. So the proposal was to create more of those kinds of citizen advisory committees that would assist both boards, the village board and the town board, in furthering objectives that the members of the board alone can't necessarily accomplish. There's just a lot of work to be done, and this would help to bring some talent that's in the community to bear on activities such as transportation initiatives, which was another sore point in this survey. Things like economic development ideas and so on and so forth. So those
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Anything? Anybody?
The location of the meeting, Paul, for tomorrow, did you mention the location?
I don't think I did, but it's the West Point Visitor Center.
This is probably a little too high, but hi, my name is Christy Katraudis. I live in Main Street. I don't know if this is more a discussion, but earlier you mentioned about someone opening up the fire hydrant every day. Is that a continuous thing? Is that going to happen in the future? Is there a way of
Do you want me to answer
tracking
that?
down? I don't know if this can be a discussion.
So you have the village and you have the town.
Yeah.
We buy our water from the village of Highland Falls. We're 3 miles away. When I mentioned April 20th, that's for the fire hydrants that are 3 miles away down in the town, 2 water districts down there. As far as the village of Highland Falls, I keep on seeing on Facebook, which you all know everything on there is true. I keep on seeing on Facebook, brown water here, there, and everywhere. That is I'm not pushing off the buck. That's not part of the town's interest. It's the village's interest.
Oh, thank you. Second point, it was mentioned earlier about occupancy taxes for Airbnbs and Verbos and how only 9 businesses are currently being affected, and you're currently looking at Airbnbs to apply the occupancy tax. And we mentioned using a program or a business to get to them. Coming up in May, we have, as we all probably know, graduation at West Point. Some people are renting out their houses for $12,000 or $13,000. It would be nice to have this in effect before then, because 5% of $13,000 is quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably over 150 Airbnbs in Highland Falls and Fort Montgomery area. So is there a way of, I don't want to say attacking them, but is there a way of going after Airbnbs and Verbos and house rentals that are short-term, that are more,
I can just say, this is a brand-new program for us, and we're attacking it as fast as we physically can.
Yeah.
Believe me, Kelly is doing as much work on that program. She's dedicating more time to it than she has.
Yeah.
So, and your point is well taken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty much it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Airbnb itself already collects occupancy tax. If you use that site to rent your home, they take that money automatically.
Yeah, but that's not money the town receives.
Yeah.
That's not money the town receives.
Why?
I don't know where it goes, if they're paying it, I don't know who they're paying it to.
They say.
Oh, if it's a county, then it goes to the county.
What's that?
It goes back to the business.
Actually, doesn't it go back to Airbnb? They're paying Airbnb for their...
Airbnb,
They
yeah,
have service charges, this is an additional tax.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and with West Point right there, with so many, I mean, we need to have the occupancy tax, in my opinion. We were right next to like,
have a
as we say
motion?
all the time, the biggest tourist attraction.
I'm not
You know?
opposed to that.
Oh,
Gary, did you have anything? Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
I will second.
Adjourn, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.